Mindfulness versus presence, a talk with Unmani.
Our theme today, mindfulness versus presence. Well, of course, it is in the title, mindfulness versus presence. In a way, with that title, there's the assumption that it's one or the other, that they are somehow opposing each other. But in fact, nothing opposes anything. Everything is included and everything is welcome. And there's no problem with one or the other, and nothing disturbs one or the other. But it's something to explore because there are some misconceptions with this. Because when we are practicing mindfulness, of course, there are many benefits with the practice, especially when we are starting out on the spiritual path. Practicing mindfulness can be a nice way in to spirituality. It is, mindfulness has become very popular in the mainstream world now. It's not such an alternative thing. It's like a buzzword now, but of course it is very ancient wisdom. But it's obviously been repackaged now as this modern technique that is very simple for people to take in our modern world, where we need like a quick fix, something that we can hold on to support our daily lives without having to participate in a particular tradition or religion or spiritual pathway. We can just listen to a mindfulness audio or read a mindfulness book, and within minutes we can practice mindfulness. We can know what is meditation through this practice. So I know that mindfulness has been very supportive for so many people and has introduced meditation and spirituality to people who would otherwise not have found their way into it. And so what is mindfulness, first of all? Mindfulness is basically the practice of noticing what is presently appearing. In a way, just as we were doing in our guided meditation just now. It is the practice of feeling the sensations that you feel right now, and noticing the sounds, noticing the sensations, the breath, or whatever is presently appearing. And that can be very subtle as we bring our attention to the sensations, the very subtle sensations, even as I touch my fingers like this, just the very subtle sensations of the skin touching the skin. Or we can practice mindful walking, like a walking meditation, where as we put each foot, as the foot touches the ground with each step, we notice the contact in each subtle experience, each subtle moment of the foot touching the ground, and to really bring the attention to these very subtle and kind of moment to moment sensations. We slow down and we really take the time to bring the attention to all the details of the present experience. And this is something that, as I said, is very supportive in our busy lives. in our busy modern lives, because we're usually rushing around and overlooking the present experience, the wonder of the present experience. And because we are usually just running from here to there and chasing some future moment, some future goal, and imagining that one day then I'll be happy if I just achieve this or that, or do this or that. And so practicing mindfulness reminds us that this moment, whatever it is, however it is, even if it's uncomfortable, or even if there are thoughts that say, I don't like this or don't want this, that this is amazing. Just the very fact that this present experience exists, just the way it is. It's mind-blowing. So this is beautiful, right? This is really beautiful to acknowledge the present experience, to take the time to slow down, to listen to the sound of the wind, or to sit in nature and just notice the scene, or to just sit with a friend and just take a moment just to look at them, or to really feel how they feel with you, or to take a moment to feel your hand and to explore, even look at all the details of your hand. So, it's an endless playground, right? And then, so then the other side of mindfulness is that it can become a mind game. Because obviously it's the nature of the thinking to be overlooking things and to be busy with the future or the past, to be trying to manipulate or strategize or navigate through life as is its nature. And so then we will naturally forget to be mindful. And then perhaps there may be thoughts that say, oh, damn, I should remember to be mindful. I've done it wrong. I've forgotten. So you'll be kind of beating yourself up for forgetting. So then there'll be this forgetting and remembering. And then there'll be an idea that when I am mindful, then that's the better experience. That's the ideal experience. That's the preference. That's my preference. Because usually when we are more mindful, there's more of a sense of expansion and calm in the body. And when there's moving from the thinking, then it can be more of a sense of restlessness, maybe contraction or other uncomfortable experiences. And then also taking our thoughts more seriously and meaningfully is generally uncomfortable. But there is the idea that one experience means more. It has a higher value to me than the other experience. And this is where there's a confusion. So then what is presence? What is this message that I'm pointing to here? What is presence? What is the truth of who we are? This that you are doesn't require any practice. It is very simple. It doesn't require you to do anything or bring your attention to anything. It is already who you are. And we can use the word presence for that, although it gets a bit confusing if we use presence for both. Because with mindfulness, we are bringing the attention to what is presently appearing, and this can enable us to experience the experience as a sense of presence, which is an experience. So when I talk about the recognition of who you are, I might use the word presence, but this is the presence that is always. So in this case, maybe just to avoid confusion, I'm not going to use that word for who you are. I might use the word, I could use any word, but let's say freedom. Yeah. I could use peace also, but the word peace also has a similar misunderstanding or confusion, because it also sounds like an experience. In fact, all words, of course, will be confusing and misunderstood. But let's say freedom. So who you are is the freedom that is always here. And it doesn't require you to put your attention on it, because it is not an experience of any kind. It is only recognized. It is not experienced. And this is very confusing for the mind, especially if you've practiced mindfulness or meditation, and you have these kind of experiences of expansion and presence. But this recognition of who you are, of the freedom that you are, this is there. It is here always, even if you are not mindful, even if there are a lot of thoughts, even if you are chasing some future experience, even if you're experiencing a very uncomfortable, restless experience, even if you are believing your thoughts, believing in a separate identity, who you are is beyond all of that. It is that sees and knows all that is happening, which is why I use the word freedom, because it is free no matter what. It doesn't need the experience to be in a particular way in order to be free. It doesn't need the experience to be an experience of being mindful or present in order to be the absolute presence that is always. And this actually brings a lot of relief and freedom in your experience also, this knowing, this recognition. Because if you recognize the presence that is always here, then in your experience, if you overlook or you are caught in thought or you don't always feel so free or present, you know that this is just a passing experience. It may not be the ideal experience, it may not be your preference, but it is always present. It is always freedom, no matter what. Now, of course, if your experience is very busy, a busy mind, and if you're believing in a certain identity and taking those thoughts very seriously, then it is more challenging to acknowledge and recognize that who you are is beyond all of that and is always free. But this recognition doesn't need to happen all the time. It's not something that makes your experience better. You see, the practice of mindfulness can improve your experience, but the recognition of who you are doesn't necessarily improve your experience, because who you are, in actual fact, doesn't care about your experience. It is that is aware always. It is simply aware, and it has no preference for one experience over the other. So it's not something that can be used to self-soothe when you're in a challenging experience. You can use mindfulness for that. You can use any other practice for that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Which is why I'm saying that actually mindfulness isn't kind of versus presence. It can be used as well as, because presence is always who you are, that freedom that you always are. And then within that, you can practice anything, whatever works for you. Mindfulness is a beautiful practice. But even when you forget to be mindful, you are always the freedom, you are always the presence that you're trying to be more of in your experience. So actually it brings a lot of ease in that practice of mindfulness, because if you know that you are in fact always present, no matter what, even if you forget to be, and then it takes the pressure off this trying to be present. Then you enjoy those moments when you bring the attention to the details of this present experience. And then when thought comes in, well, then you notice that thought is happening presently, that an identifying with a certain thought story is happening presently. That in fact, everything that is happening presently, no matter what. It doesn't exclude thoughts or beliefs or assumptions or fears. Who you are includes it all, without exception.